And now it's Deborah Cobett Live and the Little Italy podcast.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today on Deborah Cobalt Live and our Little Italy podcast. I'm so thrilled to be introducing to you today Emanuele Amendola, the director of the Italian Cultural Institute here in Los Angeles. I get to see Emanuele quite often because some of the programs over at the Cultural Institute in Los Angeles are among my favorite that I do here in LA. I just love it. And I was thrilled that he wanted to come on and talk to us today about all the great work that he's doing there. Thank you for joining us, Emanuele.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Deborah. It's great to be part of this. It's a lovely opportunity. Piacere.
Yeah, absolutely. I told you off camera that there are some folks here that when I tell them, oh, what are you doing tonight? I'm going to the Italian Cultural Institute. And they'll say, oh, where is that? And I thought, how could you not know? So for those folks out there who don't know what the Italian Cultural Institute is and does, would you tell them, please?
Of course. So let's start. Let's start with the basics. We are located in Westwood, just by UCLA. We are a cultural center. Actually, we are an official cultural center for the government of Italy in the United States. We were founded in 1984. So to anyone who doesn't know about it, I'm like, where have you been? We've been here for more than, 30 years almost. So no, jokes aside, we are part of actually a very large network. We have 6 institutes in the United States, all reporting to our headquarters in Rome, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. And in fact, we are 88 throughout the world. So possibly, in almost every major city, in every country in the world, almost there is an Italian spot for culture and for getting together, forces dialogue about Italian culture and what Italy represents today to the world. That's actually what we do. That's our mission: inform people, let people understand, not just our heritage, not just the Italy that you can see on the postcards, but also what Italy is today, which is a very dynamic, diverse, and rich country. Some unexpected things you might find other than Michelangelo, Leonardo, or opera, for example.
Yeah, in fact, you just had an incredible exhibit, Volterra, and discussion about what that is. You want to tell us about that? Because I know that the exhibit is still there if folks want to go see it. Go ahead.
Absolutely. The exhibit is still on view. It will be on view until May 18th at our cultural center. So anyone who's listening, please stop by and visit it. This is actually, a very, very good example of what we do at the Institute and the kind of image of Italy that we want to present. Because on the one hand, it talks about our cultural heritage, it talks about archaeology. There is a very interesting story about what happened in Volterra. This is a very ancient Italian city in Tuscany, one of the most beautiful regions of Italy. Have you ever been to Tuscany, Deborah?
Oh, of course, yes.
So, everybody knows about Florence, Pisa. Not many people know about Volterra. Volterra is just as amazing. And it's, as I was saying, a very old city. And what happened there about 10 years ago, they found out of the blue, out of nothing, an amphitheater that was not mentioned anywhere, in any historical record. They were actually digging for some repair works, some hydrological works in the area, and they found this carved wall. And from there, they started excavating, and they found a theater out of nothing. So, there was a lot of research, a lot of, work, people involved, and an American company, Autodesk, together with another cultural institutions from the United States, the Volterra Detroit Foundation, started working there, applying digital technology to the excavations. So basically what they did, they used their softwares, they used, their advanced technological tool to map the archaeological site of the theater and to study it. And from there, it stemmed a very beautiful collaboration between, Italy, the local people in Volterra, and this part of the United States, because Autodesk is based in San Francisco. And what we want to, tell people about Italy and about, what we do is exactly this, that there are beautiful examples of, bridges between our two countries. And this is one of those cases that it's very significant to narrate.
What's interesting is, often you'll have an exhibit, a slideshow, a film, and then you have a very interesting talk about it for all of us to understand. And that's what I like. I was an art history major, so I love this stuff. I have a son who's studying archaeology. It's in my bones to enjoy all this. And I especially appreciate the way you present each and every one of these. Like you just also had the film Womeness, right? With Yvonne Show, whom I just interviewed actually. And I was so taken by all of that. And then of course, a talk afterwards, someone from the Gina Davis Institute. You really pull it together. Is that something you're in charge of doing? Because that's a lot of work, Emanuele.
It kind of is, but it's beautiful and inspiring. So even though it's a lot of work, I love doing that because I really would like this center to be a place of dialogue, a place of exchange. This is what we are here for, in the sense that we're not just presenting something, we are inviting everyone who attend to have an active part in our programs, to be part of the dialogue. We want people to go home, with some takeaways, some messages about what we care about and about things that people should care about. Say, for example, the program we hosted with Yvonne. We wanted to spark a conversation about the role of women in cinema. The occasion was International Women's Day. We presented the film on that day, but in general, we think that this is an important conversation to have. Acknowledge the role of women in our society, acknowledge the role of women in cinema, since we are in Los Angeles. Actually, everything we do tends to have a connection with the local reality just because of this, because we want to be part of the community and we want to be part of the dialogue that happens within that community.
You came from, before this position here in LA, where were you? Were you in Washington, D.C.?
That's correct, yes.
Tell me about that. Your whole evolution of working for the Italian government. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh my God. Where do I even start? So, I joined the Foreign Service in Italy in when was that? 2014. So about 10 years ago. And I started working. In our headquarters, we have an entire directorate, that's how we call it, devoted working with our network of cultural institutes in the world. It's actually a very specific branch of the Italian Foreign Service. You have, in order to be hired, you have to pass a competitive exam. It's a public exam, in fact. There are a number of written, oral components, lots of subjects from geography to foreign languages, of course, culture. You have to have a background in humanities in order to join the branch of the Foreign Service. So when I was initially appointed, I started working in this directorate that takes care of the programming of cultural activities throughout the network, and then basically you start assignments throughout the network that we have in the world. Our assignments last typically 4 to 5 years in each city. We have a cycle of 2 postings. So basically you get to spend 8 years abroad in 2 different cities. Then you go back to Italy. You spend a year or 2 again in our headquarters. And it's like, a way for you to reconnect with our administration, with what's happening in Italy, to refresh your background, and then start again. So for me, actually, I was, it was unusual in the sense that I was posted, as you said, in Washington, D.C., in the United States, and then I got assigned to Los Angeles. Normally, it works that, if you are in the United States, then you're sent to China or to Australia or to Africa, something completely different. But for a series of coincidences, I got to stay within this country, although I have to say that East Coast, West Coast are 2 worlds apart. I feel like, I'm in a different continent altogether, because Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles are so different and so unique and so peculiar in their own ways that I feel, it's really 2 worlds apart. For example, I don't know, Washington, D.C. tends to have a more European flavor, I would say, in terms of taste, and in terms of programming. There are certain areas that engage more the local audience, say for example classical music or traditional art, while for example in Los Angeles you get to experiment a little more with different medias, contemporary art, pop music, and of course cinema. I mean, Los Angeles is the capital of cinema.
You're right about that. They are worlds apart, right? Because I'm originally from New York and New Jersey, and my family before that is from Italy. And, when we moved out here, we love it out here, but it is very different. It feels like, especially in New York, everything is steeped a little more in tradition. Even having the 4 seasons, you have a tradition with each season. And here, oh gosh, we're blessed with great weather all the time. And in a way, everything just sort of blends together. But it's equally as wonderful, right? Whether it's here, whether it's back east, it's equally as wonderful. So when you first landed in LA, you must have been like, wow, I'm in Los Angeles. That must have been pretty exciting, right?
Oh,
some of the folks you get to meet.
Absolutely. It's one of those cities when, where, you wake up and you have the feeling that you don't know how the day is going to end, because during the day it just happens that you might meet someone that might introduce you to someone else, and that might lead your entire day, your entire week to a in a different way to what you imagined, and collaborations just they just happen naturally. I would say in a certain way, maybe it's more spontaneous, or I don't know. It's just because of the way the city is that things happen more naturally. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Now, you work very closely with our Consul General, who I think is absolutely terrific. She's a great representative here in LA from Italy. What's your partnership like?
Well, there is a joke around. Some people told me that we work like we are 2 bodies, 1 soul. But it's
True.
It is very true, because we're very much in sync. Whatever we are basically the cultural office of the Consul General of Italy, and so everything we do is the result of a very close collaboration. We consult very often on what we want to present, how we want to present. It's a synergy. In fact, we're very lucky that in Los Angeles we have 3 Italian institutions of the Italian government working in town, which are, of course, the Consulate General, our Cultural Institute, and the Italian Trade Commission. It's not always a given to have such a high number of Italian institutions working in the same town, but this tells you, what kind of priority our country has for this area, what kind of consideration we have for the Los Angeles area, and just we are obviously it's our mandate to work in sync and to collaborate, but in our case it's also a pleasure. Raffaella is one of the most inspiring and dedicated women I've ever met. And that's actually, the beauty of the job I do, I would say, because throughout my assignments, I always had the opportunity to work with fantastic people. And every time it's been such an enriching experience. I feel, every time I become a sort of better version of myself, also thanks to the people I work with.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, does your entire office decide the exhibits, the talks, all of that, is that you, or is that something that's brought in from the government and says, look, we'd like for you to work this in? How does it work? Because I want to tell people it's very varied, right? You've got science, you've got food. Was it Nancy Silverton, right? Oh, she was magnificent, right? And then we got to sample some of the food. It's always something different and extraordinary. And I often think, gosh, whose ideas are these? Would you?
Well, it's a mix.
Okay.
In the sense that I cannot take the entire credit for everything we do. In fact, it's not it's not like that. In the sense that we obviously respond to our headquarters in Rome, which provide guidelines and priorities. They give us themes that are important for our international relations, for our international cultural policies. And they say, maybe this year we should concentrate on this. For this area, the focus should be on this series of activities. On the other hand, we represent the local antennas for our headquarters. So it's also a matter of striking the balance, saying, okay, yes, this is the thing we should explore, but we should do it this way, or we should consider this element, because obviously you want to be in sync with the local community and with the local environment, because it's always a matter of picking those subjects, those themes that reflect those interests, those priorities, but also themes and organizing events that can resonate with the local community. And for that, they have to rely on us and what we can capture and what we can sense from the places we work in. So it's always a matter of striking that balance. And whenever I pick a program, or whenever I receive a program, I always try to build a narrative around it in a way that we can engage people in an interesting but also in a fun way. Say, for example, the program that you were mentioning with Nancy, that was one of the idea behind that event was coming from our headquarters, because they were saying, you should explore the themes of Italian cuisine, you should promote, authentic Italian products, authenticity, and the narrative that we built around that theme was to involve a local chef, someone so much appreciated and loved in Los Angeles, like Nancy Silverton, who came and did a little cooking show using the authentic Italian products that we wanted to highlight in front of our audience.
Yeah, she was great, and she lives part-time in Italy. So and she was saying how she's got the heart and soul of an Italian, and
Yeah.
she certainly does with her food, that's for sure. Now, you just mentioned products. Let's talk a little bit about that, right? About Italian business and products, and authentic Italian versus not, right? A lot of times people here, they might think they're purchasing authentic, but they're really not. Do they go to only an Italian, like, let's say, grocery store? How can you tell the difference? Because I know you not you particularly, but the Institute educates people about that, right? Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's actually, that was actually the idea behind that event we organized with Nancy. So let's take a step back. I don't know if you ever heard about this thing called Italian sounding. That reflects, this a number of products that, let's say, they use Italian names, or Italian sounding names, or they put an Italian flag on their label, just to appear authentic, like authentic Italian products, but in fact they are not. Say, for example, Parmesan cheese. It's not Parmigiano. It's the name sounds very similar, but it's not the real thing. And this is for us, a major issue, not just economically, but also culturally, because an authentic Italian product has a story, has a tradition behind it that ties it with a community, with the place where it comes from, and it is in our mandate to educate people, also because, you have to be transparent about these things in order to not have confusions for customers or, for harm even the producers. So, for example, in Italy, we have a number of certifications that say, okay, this product is an authentic Italian product made in Italy, according to the tradition, using ingredients that are sourced in that specific region of our country. And, this helps promoting our economy, but also our identity and our culture. So, for example, during that program with Nancy, we're using only, products that were certified Italian products made according to, the original recipes, the original traditions, and the original ways in which, these products are produced in Italy.
It would be a fun one to have about handbags, right? I love my Italian handbags, Emanuele. I really have to tell you. But seriously, right? You open up the handbag and you could see, the true Italian quality. Like, how can someone decipher between an authentic bag and one that they think might be an authentic bag? You know what I mean? That's a good one too. Only because I love my handbags. So go ahead.
Who doesn't love Italian brands? That's what we're famous for, Fashion. Fashion is one of the things we invest the most also at the Institute. I don't know if you were here last year. We had an exhibit called Fashion Panorama. We developed that with Vogue Italia. And it was about, up and coming Italian designers, just because, again, we want to present not just the Italy of tradition, but also the Italy of today. So, of course, everybody, your Gucci, your Prada, your Versace.
Yeah.
But, on that occasion, together with Vogue, which is, the Bible of fashion, we wanted to present those new Italian designers that are creating, a different idea of Italian fashion. And believe it or not, many of them are coming from, different parts of life, even sometimes different countries that have been naturalized Italian citizens, because, Italy today is just as much as a melting pot as other places in the world.
Yeah. Yes, and I did attend that, and it was spectacular. And, those new designers, those young and new designers, have they landed here in the United States? I imagine that, something like that would give them the notoriety, right, to get picked up here, correct?
Oh, yes. And of course, once you've been selected and vetted by Vogue, that's like, the best business card you can have. But again, in terms of building those kind of bridges, that is what we are here for. For example, that program we presented not just in collaboration with Vogue Italia, but the opening panel for the exhibit. We invited people from the Los Angeles Institute of Fashion and Merchandising. And that was also a nice way to connect those designers with, one of the most important institutions in Los Angeles for fashion. And it was also a way for us to engage, for example, their students with a different idea of Italian fashion.
And are you referring specifically to the event that was held over in Burbank at one of the studios, or is that a different one?
No, it's a different one that happened at the Institute, but the concept is.
Yeah, because that also, that you had a fashion show there. That was beautiful. That was a wonderful evening. What was that event specifically about? Because it was food, it was fashion.
Yeah, actually, that was the celebration of our National Day organized by the Consul General, and that was actually, a celebration of at 360 degrees what Italy is famous for, its excellencies, and from fashion to food to technology, everything was there. It's one of those days during the year, our National Day, where we like to invite the entire community, but also our American friends to enjoy what Italy represents.
Let's not forget the Vespucci that was here this past year. Oh my goodness. Tell me, your part in all that.
Oh wow, where do I even start? The Vespucci was
I
such.
know.
It was huge. I think I was actually, working on our report, for the activities of last year just yesterday. And I think the
Oh,
final stats were in the region of 75,000 visitors for the Villaggio Italia, which was, this huge pavilion accompanying the arrival of the tall ship in Los Angeles. And of course, that was like a team effort, not just of our institute or not even just the consulate. It was actually, many Italian ministries coming together. And that was actually very beautiful because you had
oh.
so many different, Italian entities coming together to present the best of Italy in Los Angeles, matching the arrival of this beauty, which is the Amerigo Vespucci, is really the most beautiful ship in the world. For that, what we organized more directly was the opening concert. We had this magnificent artist, her name is Serena Altieri. She presented a selection of songs from the Italian tradition. The setting was just so beautiful. You can look it up, on our social accounts. There are some videos. Imagine the singer performing in front of the ship. It was just magical.
I was very sad when she left. I have to tell you, I feel like I got to know this ship and all the hard work you all did there. It was a magnificent show. I will tell you, Emanuele, thank you to you, our Consul General, everyone in Italy, the Navy, everybody. It was really magnificent.
You know what? That's what I felt when it left, because it was so much preparation, dedication, and seeing it coming together was moving. And then when the ship left and they moved on to the next spot, we were like, we were feeling the kind of syndrome of abandonment. So
Yes,
because we were like, oh my God, what we are left with now,
I agree. I felt the same way. I really, really did.
Oh my God! And were you there when the jets flew over? There was a flyby over the ship with the national flag. Oh God,
I just got chills now just thinking about it. I did. Yes, it was absolutely magnificent. Getting chills again just thinking about it. I have to tell you. So we definitely felt that same thing there. It was really Italian excellence at its finest. You are not just in charge here in LA, right? You have kind of a wide net that you cast. Would you San Diego and how many states as well?
Nine states.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Are you in charge of different exhibits going on? Like, tell me about that. How does that work?
Yeah. So, well, we obviously, we have areas of jurisdictions because we are only 6 institutes in the United States, and we are supposed to cover the entire territory. So amongst us, we divide, the areas of the country, and we try to work as much, not just in our primary city where our mission is, but also in the surroundings. So, for example, we organize events, as you said, in San Diego, which is, not as tough because it's relatively close by. It's just a 2 hours drive, 2 hours and a half. So I get to go there every now and then. But also, for example, Nevada, Las Vegas is part of our territory. Texas, we are actually working right now on a couple of exhibits happening at the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston, together with our consulate there. And, again, it's not just the effort of one single person, because we have, again, a network. We are a network of consulates. So there is a consulate in Houston, which we work very closely with. There is a network of, honorary consuls that are our antennas, in different states in the United States, where, and they help us putting together our program to promote Italy. And let's not forget, because they are a big part, Italian associations. We work together with a number of Italian associations. They're everywhere. And without, their support, and it's mostly volunteers, we wouldn't be able to do as much as we do.
Yeah. You also have classes, right? You have language class, for example,
Yes.
that I keep wanting to join, but I don't because I have to make sure I'm consistent to go every week. And it's the best way to learn language. Anybody who's learning another language knows you've got to keep with it. But the languages there that you teach, I know I've really gotten high praise
Oh, thank you.
there. So you've got language. Anything else in terms of classes that you hold there?
Well, language classes is, a big part of our
Yeah.
activity because it's in fact, also at the heart of our mission because we believe that by teaching Italian language, we can create even, longer lasting bonds between
Yeah.
us and the community because learning a language, whether it is, Italian, Spanish, Chinese, Korean, it can be anything, but it requires a lot of passion, dedication, interest. It's a commitment, and once you
Yeah.
commit to learn the language, you become a friend of the country. And knowing a
True.
language, it's important because it gives you direct access to that specific culture. Say, for example, you want to be able to read an Italian book by yourself without passing by the translation. You will be able to catch, a lot more nuances that you wouldn't be able to do if you were reading it in English or watching a movie. Or, if it is something just as simple as you want to go to Italy and you want to be able to order like, a dish of pasta at your local restaurant and have, a little interaction with the people who are serving you. It's teaching a language is really about building that bridge. It's a way to make Italy closer to the community here and bring it closer to Los Angeles. That's why we care about it so much.
And it's highly regarded. You can be an absolute beginner and go all the way up to advanced. I really love that about it. So if you make that commitment, you can go all the way through. I love that.
Absolutely. And it's in person, but it's also online because we realize that, of course, not our location might not be convenient to everyone. We have day classes, evening classes, weekend classes, one-to-one classes, you name it, we have it. And all our teachers are mother tongue. So they come from Italy and, they're really good. I'm really, really proud of them.
I'm actually glad that you said online because that would probably work for me, to have an online class because sometimes I can't be there, even though I'm very close. I don't live far from the Institute at all. But online, that's terrific. One-on-one, terrific. So you've got all options for people. There's no excuse not to learn Italian, right? There's no excuse.
Absolutely. That was one of the, positive things that came out of the pandemic because before COVID, we didn't used to have online classes. And
right.
Overnight, we were forced to change our way of teaching Italian because otherwise, with the lockdown and people not feeling confident of being in a classroom, it was a safety hazard, and we would have been closed otherwise for more than a year. And that was like a small revolution for us, but it worked out for the best because now we have both offerings and we can have best of both worlds.
Gosh, it's going to be a lot of fun. The Olympics here in LA and welcoming our Italian athletes. Oh, that's going to be something. And you say that you have 4 or 5 years. I'm guessing you're still going to be here because you better be, right? You have to be.
I'm almost expired. I joke about this, saying that I have, the shelf life, not of a yogurt, but maybe like, one of those long life milk products, like. But I joined the Institute in LA in 2022. So next year is going to be my last one. And unfortunately, I will miss the Olympics, which is something that, is going to be another Vespucci, I'm telling you.
Oh, of course it is. But I think people are going to be holding on to you as you're leaving. It's like, no, everybody loves you, Emanuele. You make everyone feel very, very comfortable. You really do. Anything else you'd like to tell our audience, whether they're Italian Americans, or, folks who live in Los Angeles? Please go ahead.
Well, no, just just want to reiterate that our place is open to everyone. You don't have to be Italian, you don't have to be Italian American, you don't even have to speak Italian, because all our programs are bilingual. And actually, you know, our goal is to make people aware of Italy, people who are not aware of what Italy is. So the less you know about Italy, the better it is. Come to visit us, and you know, you will discover more. And depending what time of the day you stop by at the Institute, we will welcome you with a strong espresso if it is you know, morning, or a glass of prosecco, or an Aperol spritz if you come in the evening.
Okay, I'm going to come just to get my espresso. I really am. That would be so much fun. But what is next?
That's Italian 100%. You can count on that.
Oh, I know.
I wouldn't go without a real espresso in the morning. I couldn't.
No, of course not. What is one of the next exhibits or talks or whatever? And by the way, I want to tell people you can go online, right, at your website, because you've got all kinds of talks that are constantly happening, right? Every month you have something. Can you tell our people?
We have something happening almost every week. Like last year, we had about, you know, maybe 50 events that makes them one a week. So it's a lot. You can find everything on our website, on our social medias, Instagram. If you go on our website, there is a section called newsletter. You just sign up, and then you automatically receive invitations to our events. All our events are free. It's gonna charge you anything for that, and everybody is welcome to join. Talking about future programs, I don't want to say too much, in the sense that you know, you have to look it up and discover it yourself. So you know, we'll leave people with that curiosity. But our next exhibit is going to be about contemporary Italian photography. That will happen in June. Always in June, we will have a concert for this initiative, which is called Festa della Musica. It's a Make Music Day. It's a big celebration of music that happens throughout the world, where you know, each and every city, country, everywhere are organized you know, free concerts. So we join the celebration every year. And then, oh my God, what else is happening? Oh, well, in April, we have our Research Day, which is devoted to highlighting the contribution of, you know, Italian researchers to sciences and technology. Because as I was saying, you know, we like to show that Italy is not just, you know, what you might imagine, but there's also a lot more. So research, technology, innovation, sustainability, it's also featured a lot in our programs.
I like to tell people, if you go over to JPL, so many of the researchers and scientists came from the university over in Italy, Bari in particular, and so many places. And that happens to be true. Many of some of the finest engineers and scientists and people developing in AI come from Italy, and that's a fact. And I like to highlight that about us as well. So I'm
going to give you a little preview for our Research Day on April 30th at the Institute. You will see a lot of those people participating.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh, Emanuele, I'm so thrilled that you joined us. I guess that comes to the end of our interview. Again, if there's anything else you want to tell our people, or if you think we covered it, that's just great.
I just want to say grazie mille. Thank you a lot for this opportunity. It was a joy to spend, you know, this time together, and let people know a little better about what we do, who we are, what we're here for.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I told you I really enjoy coming there, and I'm going to take you up on just walking in for my espresso. I'm going to do that. It's a great joy. So thank you for joining us and for all you do here in LA and beyond. Emanuele Amendola. I said it correctly. Yeah, thank you so much. Director at the Italian Cultural Institute in Los Angeles. Please go to their website. The events are free. And as Emanuele was saying, you know, just about something every week. Very, very interesting stuff going on there. And so many wonderful people to meet. I will tell you, usually after there's a talk, there's always some kind of mingling going on, Italian style, of course, right? As you said, Prosecco and you little bites to eat. Again, Italian style. It's just a marvelous, wonderful evening and daytime as well. So thank you once again for joining us, Emanuele, and everybody. You could find my interview on Deborah Cobelt Live and also our Little Italy podcast. We put them on YouTube, on Facebook, and then we cut little clips and we'll put them on our Instagram. And then after that, you can also listen as an audio podcast. We're on iHeartRadio and just about anywhere that you get your podcast. Just put in our name and you'll find it as well if you just want to listen if you're driving around. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please tell your friends and go visit the Institute as well. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Grazie. Ciao.
Grazie.